On today's episode of r/ProRevenge, a hungry coworker with a sweet tooth gets caught red-handed. Then a credit card thief gets thrown in jail. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to never miss another video. And the first story is called, I had an office food thief, so I bought a nanny cam. A couple of things about me that made it really suck to have a food thief. I have a lot of food allergies, so I can't just get a lunch at the cafeteria or at a nearby restaurant. I have a new baby, who is breastfeeding, and who I pump for when I'm at work. You know how hungry pregnant people are? Yeah, the caloric requirement for breastfeeding is 100 to 200 calories higher. I am always hungry. Because I have a new baby, half the time I don't manage to show up at work with a lunch. I either run out of time to pack one, or if I did remember, I leave it on the counter. My solution to all this was to leave lots of non-perishable snacks in my office, and also a lot of candy, because I also have a 3-year-old. And therefore work is the only place I can shovel Skittles into my mouth without a little hand extending into my field of vision and a little voice saying, please. Snacks that are specifically free of my allergens, some of which were specialty foods because of this. The type of specialty food that just doesn't taste as good as the food that contains the allergen and also costs twice as much. Because I'm not getting a lot of sleep right now, I deserve nice things. So because I'm not getting a lot of sleep right now, when I first came back from maternity leave, assembled my snack hoard, and started having things go missing, I genuinely thought I was just losing my mind. Boxes of candy were running out faster than I thought I was eating them. I'd come in the morning and things wouldn't be there where I'd left them. At one point, I bought a bag of chips to work, folded the rim of the bag down so I wasn't plunging my arm elbow deep into a grease pit, and then put a bag clip on it when I went home. And when I came back in the next morning, the bag was unrolled and re-clipped. I went, wow, I must be more tired than I thought. Rolled the bag back down, and the next morning it was unrolled again. Just little things like that almost every day that made me go, wow, the post-baby brain is worse than I thought. And then I got the flu. And I was out for a whole week. Left behind at the office was an almost full box of Enjoy Life cookies, which are not enjoyable, but are free of all major allergens, and are also $5 a box for like 12 sad little sand pies with some cinnamon on top. I ate one row of these cookies, and then I was out of the office for a week. For 1 week, I was not eating any of my snack hoard. But someone else was. Because I came back to work, opened my box of cookies, and found one. There was one single solitary cookie left. And on further examination, the one box of candy that had been opened was nowhere to be found. And on top of that, the thief had done me the courtesy of opening a new box for me, except that they actually followed the push here to open instructions instead of just ripping one end of the box open like I do, which they should damn well know at this point because by this time they've been stealing from me for 2 months. The combination of these two things, the sheer freaking audacity it takes to open a new box so you can continue stealing from someone, on top of the consumption of almost a whole box of specialty cookies that aren't even good, enraged me enough that after going to my boss and getting some vague promises about checking if the security cameras in my wing of the building are functional or not, I went straight to Amazon and ordered myself a nanny cam. Not for my baby, for my snack hoard. Conveniently, it arrived the day before Valentine's Day. I set it on top of a file cabinet looking down at my desk. On the desk, I laid out a fantastic spread of bait snacks. I got all my thieves' favorites, and then took it one step further. I bought myself a Valentine heart, broke the seal to make it more inviting, and left it out on my desk. The next morning I came in to some very obvious snack carnage. My thief had slowly been getting more brazen. Again, who opens a new box of something, and opens it differently than the person they are stealing from? But this was just on another level. Individually wrapped things had been dumped out of their boxes. Bits of packaging had been thrown away, and yup, they'd eaten some of the Valentine candy. For shame, office thief. Don't you know that's from someone who loves me? I played back the video. It was quiet throughout most of the evening, and I was just watching the shadows lengthen as the sun slowly set through the hallway window. And then, shortly before midnight, the night janitor arrived, and went right ahead and took a 12-minute break in my office, sitting in my chair, eating my food. I started taking screenshots. I got him shoveling candy into his mouth with full palm to lip intensity, pouring things out onto my desk to pick his favorite flavors, not even bothering to put them back where he found them, and yes, eating my gosh dang Valentine's candy. Screenshots went directly to my boss in an email. I went directly to my boss's door to hover and grin and ask if he'd read my email. And I got assurances of a strongly worded email to the cleaning company and a barring of this particular employee from our place of business. I was also tactfully asked to please take my unauthorized spy camera home, which I did. I thought this was over until the girl who works the concession stand dropped by to thank me. Apparently the food thief would start his shift just as she was closing down for the night, and would try to get free coffee in that creepy guy way. And then one of the reception staff came by with the same sentiments. I'd never met the guy face to face, but apparently as a woman, it was not a fun experience to have. I'd shown my screenshots to a few coworkers, whose eating OP's food had become office gossip by this point, and word had spread fast. I worked an earlier shift, so I didn't recognize him, but people whose shift overlapped with his did. I hadn't told my husband about what I'd done, because when I came home raging about the blatant theft that had gone on while I'd had the flu, his only response had been, "You really shouldn't be leaving food at work then." But then I came home with the nanny cam and explained where and why I got in it. His reaction surprised me. "You know, this is the first time I've seen you stand up for yourself. I'm proud of you." You know what, Reddit? I'm proud of me too. Story number 2 is called Steal My Money and Then Become Hostile When I Ask for a Refund? Have fun with that felony on your record. This happened a few years ago right after I graduated college. I would make an 8-hour drive home a few times a year to see family, usually over the holidays. During these trips, there was only wilderness, fields, mountains, and tiny towns along the way. During one of these trips, I stopped at a gas station to get some food, and I apparently lost my debit card, or it was stolen. It was a card I never used, and looked identical to my main one, so I didn't notice it missing until later when I got a call from my bank and I see my account was overdrafted. Being fresh out of college, making $12 an hour, the $400 was a huge deal. I worked at a credit card processor at the time, so I had a very unusual familiarity with how credit card transactions worked. This was a debit card, but was ran as credit. I could have done a chargeback, of course, but I knew the merchants were fined $15 for each chargeback, on top of the return, and got a ding on their record with Visa, MasterCard, Amex. If they had too many chargebacks, they would have their processing revoked and incur heavy fines. Merchants are usually mom and pop shops, and are usually innocent in the matter, so I decided to give them a call. Also, the charges all came from the same gas station that I lost it at, so I suspected it was an employee who found/stole my card, and was stupid enough to use it at work. I wanted to let the managers/owners know so they can keep an eye out for unscrupulous employees. Employee theft is unfortunately common and is not brought to light until a customer brings it up. I thought I would just give them a call and ask for a refund. Easy. I call and a woman answers. I asked to speak to a manager and she says she is the manager. I explained that I had lost my card at that location and someone had later used my card there. I said I didn't want to accuse anyone, but I think one of her employees had the card, and she may want to investigate. I also said I'd like a return for all the purchases to save them the hassle of a chargeback. When I usually work with managers in this situation, they're very willing to help, and take employee theft very seriously. Instead, I'm met with hostility and insults. She told me I probably deserved it for losing my card in the first place and not noticing, and I deserve this lesson. She interrupted me and told me to basically go screw myself and none of her employees would steal. Getting a bad feeling, I asked for the number of the owner. She says there is no owner. What? By now, I'm shaking in anger, so I tell her I'm calling the police and hang up. She tries to call back, and I don't answer. By now, I'm angry crying, and I have a feeling I know who did it, but now I need to prove it. I had no intention of calling the cops, because what cops care about some petty credit card theft? It's incredibly hard to prove, and most cops have murder and stuff to worry about. Lucky for me, this is the middle of nowhere, population 100 or something. First, I call my bank and ask if they have the record of the exact times the card was used. They gave me the times down to the minute. I then call the police and get a very friendly woman. It seems she's not busy and actually listens to my story, including the hostile manager. I ask if she's able to look at the surveillance tapes or something. She says the store is 5 minutes away and she'll stop by. I guess she felt sorry for me or was bored, but I'll take it. She says she'll give me a call if she finds anything. I eagerly wait for her call, but was not expecting much. A couple of days go by and I get a call from the nice officer lady. She says that she went by the store and reviewed the footage. At the exact times I told her, the cameras caught the hostile manager making the purchases, signing receipts for the exact same amounts with a card that looks exactly like mine. Even better, they were going to charge her with felony identity theft, since making purchases on someone's card without permission is identity theft on top of monetary theft, at least in my state. They asked if I wanted any restitution, but my bank had refunded me the stolen money, so I declined. I was absolutely not expecting a cop to go out of their way to help me, and was definitely not expecting it to result in an arrest. I felt a sense of pride for actually sticking up for myself and not just taking the money from my bank and letting the thief go. I'm a pretty small and non-confrontational person, but that day I felt like a badass. If she'd been nice and worked with me, or even just apologized and done the returns, I would not have called the cops. But she was so rude and unhelpful, she got a felony instead. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.